Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is the Better Beer Authority. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the BBA rating scale. On several occasions, people have disagreed with our ratings, and I thought I should take some time to talk about our show and how we rate beers. Near the beginning of the show, I wrote out a rating scale to give the numbers some actual meaning. It's based on the idea that a truly good beer would inspire you to seek it out again, recommend it to your friends, and more importantly, fork over your hard-earned dollars for another sip. The guys on the show take this very seriously. They usually read the rating scale each show before they decide on their rating. I've only asked that they be honest with their opinion as to how the beer fits into the scale for them, and not to feel peer pressure to conform to what other craft beer enthusiasts feel about the beers we are rating. I purposely wrote the ratings so that they would come out a little lower, so that when we did have a 9 or 10, then you knew we considered it to be a truly exceptional beer. Even though we tasted tons of high-end beers in 2010, our average rating was only 6.8 for the year. Our highest overall was 9.0, and the lowest was 3.0. Our ratings are highly subjective. We aren't rating by style, we aren't BJCP beer judges, we are average guys with average beer backgrounds. We focus on our personal opinions. When we give a beer an average rating, we aren't necessarily saying that it's poorly made or has bad ingredients. We are just saying that it doesn't inspire us personally. Part of the theory is that if you seem to agree with a certain panelist over and over again on beers that you've tried, then there's a good chance that you can trust their recommendations on beers that you haven't had yet. Further, if all three panelists give a high rating, I'd say an 8 or higher, then you can assume we've found a beer that has broad appeal. We are not aiming to be a highly technical review of the beer. There are already hundreds of very technical reviews on the internet, and frankly, most of them are pretty boring. We are only aiming for an informal conversation about the beer that focuses on who would like it, what occasion is it good for, does it taste good, and inspire us to want to drink, or more importantly, pay for it again. If you want a more technical review, one that I like is Chris from Beer Geek Nation. He has a lot of knowledge about beer, and his passion comes across very well in his videos. On top of that, he edits his reviews into a very watchable format. So go check out his reviews. They're great. Then come back and appreciate that we aren't trying to be Chris. We're just trying to be ourselves. Some other big names on YouTube that I tune into include Chad9976, who also has the username Chad's Beer Reviews, but will always be Chad9976 in my heart. Mark from Video Beer Reviews. He has a new book out, by the way. Beer Ichituba, aka You Ichituba, Bitter Poet Madman, Greg's Beer Reviews, Dennis LD, JJ Davin, The Foaming Head, Jay Brookeve, JJ Rudy 41, Dorf 68, Stumpy Joe Jr. There are too many to name them all. While our show focuses more on taste than cost, cost can also be a factor. Brewing beer is a business, and if you aren't willing to shell out real dollars for a beer, then maybe the brewer has missed on his combination of recipe and price. If our panelist gives a high rating, then it is expected that they would be willing to shell out their own money to buy the beer in the future. Let's look at our rating scale. 1s and 2s should almost never happen. A beer this bad would have a hard time staying on the market. Think of it as like a bad batch of homebrew. 3 has off-putting flavors and aromas, and you really don't want to finish the beer. Since we almost always finish the beer, this is a pretty rare rating as well. 4 is subpar. You can finish the beer, but you would avoid having another. 5 is average. You can finish the beer, you would have another, but only if that was the only beer available. 6 is slightly above average. You would happily have another, but you probably wouldn't be inspired to seek it out later at a store or restaurant. 7 is kind of where I consider the good beers to start. This is the level where the beers start to inspire you to choose them over other beers at a store or restaurant. An 8 inspires you to recommend it to others. You would buy it when available and tell others to do the same. When you get to 9, you're starting to talk about your elite beers. You're excited about them and you recommend them to everyone. only about 1 in every 15 to 20 beers should receive this honor. A 10. These are the best of the best, your personal favorites. You would put it in your top 5 beers. Only 1 in every 40 to 50 beers should receive a 10. It should be a rare rating. What are some of my favorite discoveries since working on this show? Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout, Brooklyn Brewery Monster Ale, Sierra Nevada Torpedo Extra IPA, Dogfish Head Raisin Tetra, Okocim Porter, Great Lakes Edmund Fitzgerald, and Victory Hop Devil, just to name a few. Let's keep looking for great beers. It's all about exploring and great discoveries. Thanks for watching. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.